tapat sa aming serbisyo. Walang problemang di malalampasan. Magliliwanag ang ating kinabukasan. Dance Radio, silid-aralan sa radyo. Hatid namin makabago, paraan ang pagtuturo. Kahit saan at kahit kailan, hindi ka iiwanan. Hatid namin bagong kaalaman.
6.3 Dance Radio. Dance Radio.
Prepare yourself.
Ang silid-aralan sa radyo, hatid namin ay makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo at kalaman. Mapaumaga, tanghali o hapon man yan, ang istasyong magbibigay impormasyon kahit saan man.
For something big. Alright, here we go.
106.3 Dance Radio. Doña Aurora National High School, Santa Rita, Aurora, Isabela.
This
106.3 DWBR-FM. Facts and information. Today's learning for you normal with capable teachers whose heart and soul are divine. Delivered knowledge inside your home through 106.3 Dance Radio. Fully dedicated to serve the public in tribute to education, reproduce of radio-based instruction. We are pleased to deliver the utmost aim of education only here on 106.3 DWDR-FM.
Hello, good morning. A blessed Wednesday to everyone. Let's start the day with positive vibes and happy thoughts. A blissful morning to our officer in charge, the Chief Education Supervisor of SDO Isabela, Sir Rodrigo V. Pascua, to our Assistant Principal, Ma'am Ruby Guillermo. Hello po. Hello also to our supportive head teachers out there, especially to Ma'am Ofelia Esra Rutin. Good morning, Ma'am. Good morning po sa lahat. Also to all the teachers and staff of Doña Aurora National High School. And of course, shout out to the English learning area. Hello po, Ella Angels. And hi to the parents, dear students who are listening right now. Most especially the grade 7 learners. To my grade 7 Sining and Kultura, this is Teacher Jarlene Bimunar. And with me are the other grade 7 English teachers, Teacher Jane, Teacher Claudine, and Teacher Dennis. Teachers, kindly greet your students.
Hello! Good morning! Happy Wednesday! Especially to grade 7 learners. And of course, to my Archimedes, Galileo, Newton, and SPJ. And of course, all the listeners, all of those who are listening right now, don't forget to share the link to all students of Doña Aurora National High School.
Good morning also to my 7th result who are listening and watching right now. Please stay with us until the end of this segment.
Oh yes, ginabati rin natin siyempre ang lahat ng mga section pa po ng grade 7 na hindi pa napabanggit. Yes. Siyempre alam namin nanonood lang kayo dyan sa Sining, Aguinaldo, Mabini. Ito nakalagay na rito ha. Yan, maraming salamat mga anak sa inyong pakikinig. 7 Del Pilar. Yan. Tapos ano pa to? Oh, Jacinto, yung mga yan. So, magandang umaga po sa lahat at sa lahat po ng mga nanonood nating mga kabataan.
Okay, thank you so much, teachers. So, what are we going to expect for today, Sir Dennis?
Okay, today is Wednesday. You are going to listen. Tama ba ako? Yung nga. You are going to listen to the second RBI lesson for quarter 1, shift 2, which is about using active and passive voice meaningfully in varied contexts. As you listen, you should be able to, number one, identify whether a sentence is in the active voice or passive voice. And number two, transform sentences from active voice to passive voice or vice versa. For those who are following us via our Facebook live stream, don't forget to comment our hashtag for today. Again, our hashtag for today, comment in our chat box. Hashtag active and passive voice. Yan. Then, Ma'am Jarlene?
Okay, we hope that you are going to stay with us until the end of this segment. Get your last and your writing materials, and here now is your RBI lesson for today. Enjoy listening!
Dance Radio, silid-aralan sa radyo, atid namin makabago, paraan ang pagtuturo.
Wala nang makakapigil pa. Sulong Arangkada 106.3 Dance Radio sa Aurora, Isabela.
Edukasyo'y susulong, basta't magtulong-tulong, sulong edukalidad. Dance Radio, learning is amazing.
Language,
Grammar and Literature,
a program that will develop your vocabulary.
Comprehension, Critical and Analytical Skills.
This is the English Learning Area. English Learning Area. Only here on 106.3 the WDRFM Dance Radio.
Dance Radio, where learning is amazing.
Good morning, our dear listeners, especially the grade 7 learners of Doña Aurora National High School. This is your school in the air, and it's English time. We are happy to be with you today. You can tune in here in our station, 106.3 FM, Dance Radio. I am your host for today, Teacher Mark D. Bagamaspad. With me is Teacher Michael John M. Tumulak, our technical specialist. Yahoo! We are going to recognize the difference between active voice and passive voice to be able to speak English successfully. How are you today? Well, today is another great day for all of us. Let's get going with our lesson for this session. Have fun while learning a lot. Let me introduce to you your radio teacher, Teacher Catherine S. Ordinario.
Good morning, my dear grade 7 learners, and also to those who are listening right now. I am your radio teacher for today, Teacher Catherine S. Ordinario. Let me begin by sharing this inspiring quote from Earl Nightingale. Learn to enjoy every minute of your life. Be happy now. Don't wait for something outside of yourself to make you happy in the future. Think how really precious is the time you have to spend, whether it's at work or with your family. Every minute should be enjoyed and savored. What a nice message!
Oh yeah!
This morning, we are going to discuss about active versus passive voice. You are expected to use the active and passive voice meaningfully in varied contexts. To attain this, you should be able to identify whether a sentence is in the active voice or passive voice and transform sentences from active voice to passive voice or vice versa. Vice versa means the other way around. Okay, let's bring it on.
Let's go!
Are you holding your learning activity sheets now? That's good! Remember, the title of your learning activity sheets is Active versus Passive Voice. Before we move on, let me ask you a question. What immediately comes into your mind when you hear the word voice? Yes! Instantly, you think about the sound coming out of your mouth. But my dear learners, today's lesson is about voice of the verb. What then is voice as a quality of a verb? You're right! The relationship of the subject to the verb is called voice. It tells whether the subject is the doer or the receiver of the action. Now, what are the two grammatical voices in English? Correct! They are active voice and passive voice. What is the difference between the two? Exactly! The active voice indicates that the subject is the doer of the action. It is straightforward and clear. Sentences in the active voice have strong and direct tone. Here are some examples of sentences in the active voice. Number 1. Miss Anya delivered the Xerox machine. In this sentence, the subject, Miss Anya, is the doer of the action or the verb delivered. Number 2. Belle makes pancakes every Saturday. In this sentence, the subject, Belle, thus the action or the verb makes. How about the passive voice? You're right! The passive voice indicates that the subject is the receiver of the action. Its construction contains a form of the verb to be plus a past participle of a transitive verb. It expresses an action carried out on the subject of the sentence. Here are some examples of sentences in the passive voice. Number 1. The Xerox machine was delivered by Miss Anya. In this sentence, the subject machine is the receiver of the action, expressed as a verb phrase. This verb phrase is composed of the auxiliary verb was plus the past participle of the main verb deliver, which is delivered. Number 2. Pancakes are made by Belle every Saturday. In this sentence, the subject pancakes is the receiver of the action expressed as a verb phrase. This verb phrase is composed of the auxiliary verb are plus the past participle of the main verb make, which is made. We will be right back after this short reminder.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. I have just finished accomplishing the task found in my module. How can I send you my outputs for checking and feedbacking?
Oh, that's a nice question. There are actually 3 ways for a student like you to submit your outputs. 1. It could be via online. That is, if you are capable to connect online. You can just upload your outputs in your Google Classroom, or you can take pictures and send them through your group chat or messenger account.
Ma'am, how about if we do not have internet connection?
If you do not have internet connection, you can submit your accomplished tasks in 2 ways. 1. You can ask your parents to submit your outputs in the designated drop-off center. 2. You can save your outputs if you have available flash drive, CD, or DVD at home, and submit it in the designated drop-off center in your respective barangay.
Wow! It's nice to know that there are varied ways on how we can submit our accomplished task.
Always remember, for submission of outputs, you can do it via online, offline, or physical submission. Because at Dance, we make amazing things possible.
I'm back! Now, take a look at the chart on page 14 of your learning activity sheet. What does it show? Correct! It shows how sentences in the active voice are changed to passive voice according to the tense of the verb used. The first column contains the tense of the verb, and the second column, active sentences, and on the third column, passive sentences. Let's discuss the examples one by one. 1. Present tense. Reporters write news reports. The verb write is in the present tense plural because the subject, reporters, is plural. It becomes, news reports are written by reporters. What changes have you noticed? That's right! First, the subject reporters becomes an object of the preposition by. Second, the verb write is changed to the verb phrase are written because the subject reports is plural. And third, the direct object news reports becomes the subject. 2. Present continuous. Michael is baking a brownie. The verb is baking is in the present continuous singular because the subject Michael is singular. It becomes, a brownie is being baked by Michael. The verb is baking is changed to the verb phrase is being baked. 3. Past simple. The company hired new workers last year. The verb hired is in the past tense. It becomes, new workers were hired by the company last year. The verb hired is changed to the verb phrase were hired because the subject workers is plural. Let's move on to number 4. Past continuous. Are you still with me? Of course, thank you for that. The salesman was helping the customer. The verb was helping is in the past continuous. It becomes, the customer was being helped by the salesman. The verb was helping is changed to the verb phrase was being helped. 5. Present perfect. They have already discussed the book. The verb have discussed is in the present perfect plural because the subject they is plural. It becomes, the book has already been discussed by them. The verb have discussed is changed to the verb phrase has been discussed because the subject book is singular. What have you noticed with the subject they in the active voice when it is changed to the passive voice? That's right! It is changed to them because it becomes an object of the preposition by. Let's proceed to number 6. Past perfect. He had delivered the letters. The verb had delivered is in the past perfect. It becomes, the letter had been delivered by him. The verb had delivered is changed to the verb phrase had been delivered. Like example number 5, the subject he in the active voice is changed to him in the passive voice because it becomes an object of the preposition by. 7. Future simple. The company will hire new workers. The verb will hire is in the future tense. It becomes new workers will be hired by the company. The verb will hire is changed to the verb phrase will be hired. 8. Infinitive. What is an infinitive? Very good! An infinitive is formed from a verb but does not act as a verb. It is made up of the preposition to plus verb acting together as a noun, adjective, or adverb. For example, she has to deliver the letters. The verb has to deliver contains an infinitive to deliver. It becomes the letters have to be delivered by her. The verb has to deliver is changed to the verb phrase have to be delivered because the subject letters is plural. Like example number 5, the subject she in the active voice is changed to her in the passive voice because it becomes an object of the preposition by. Lastly, 9. Modals. What is a modal? Precisely! In English grammar, a modal is a verb that combines with another verb to indicate mood or tense. It is also known as a modal auxiliary or modal verb that expresses necessity, uncertainty, possibility, or permission. The 10 types of modal verbs are can, could, will, would, shall, should, may, might, must, ought to. For example, she must deliver the letters. The verb must deliver contains a modal must. It becomes the letters must be delivered by her. The verb must deliver is changed to the verb phrase must be delivered because the subject letters is plural. Like example number 8, the subject she in the active voice is changed to her in the passive voice because it becomes an object of the preposition by.
Oh!
That ends the discussion of our lesson for today. I think we have covered everything that we needed to discuss. Once again, what is the difference between active voice and passive voice? Exactly! Active voice tells that the subject does the action, while passive voice tells that the subject receives it. What should you consider when changing active voice to passive voice? Very good! You should always remember the following. First, the subject becomes an object of the preposition by. Second, the verb is changed to the verb phrase with a helping verb plus the past participle of the main verb. And third, the direct object becomes the subject. It's time to answer exercise number 1 titled, Tell me, am I active or passive? on page 15 of your learning activity sheet. What can you see there? You're right! There are 10 sentences with an empty table of active voice in the first column and passive voice in the second column. Your task is to identify whether each sentence is in the active voice or passive voice. Write the corresponding number of the sentence in the table. For example, number 1, a lullaby will be sung by her. Is it active or passive? Precisely! It's in the passive voice. So write number 1 in the provided table for passive voice. You may continue answering this activity after this broadcast. This time, please turn your learning activity sheet on page 16, where you can find exercise number 2, titled Changing from Active to Passive. In this activity, you should be able to transform each sentence from active voice to passive voice. How many activities can you see? Yes, there are 2 activities, Set A and Set B. For Set A, the subject and the object of preposition were already provided. So you will write only the correct verb to complete the passive sentence. You have to consider the tense of the verb used in the active sentence. For example, her money blank by her in the bank. You will just write is saved to complete the passive sentence since the verb used in the active sentence is saves. So, it becomes her money is saved by her in the bank. For Set B, you have to write the complete passive sentence. Observe correct spelling, capitalization, and punctuation. You may continue answering this activity after this broadcast. Let's continue with exercise number 3 titled Changing from Passive to Active on pages 16 to 17. There are also 2 activities, Set A and Set B. They are the same with exercise number 2. For Set A, the subject and the object of the preposition were already provided. So you will write only the correct verb to complete the active sentence. You have to consider the tense of the verb used in the passive sentence. For Set B, you have to write the complete active sentence. Observe correct spelling, capitalization, and punctuation. You may continue answering this activity after this broadcast. Well, it looks like you are about to finish your task. Here's more so that you will fully understand the topic. Please turn your learning activity sheet on page 17. What do you see? Yes! Enclosed in a box is a short text titled Suspicious Box. Here's what you are going to do. Read and analyze the text. After reading, copy from the text at least 5 sentences in the active voice and at least 5 sentences also in the passive voice. Write your answers in the corresponding table below the text. For example, they brought balloons, flowers, and cake for her birthday. Is it active or passive? Very good! It's active. So, write this sentence in the table for active voice. How about this sentence? A suspicious box was found by Miss Mendez on her table. Is it active or passive? Fantastic! It's passive. So write this sentence in the table for passive voice. You may start now. We will be back to continue with the next activities after this infomercial.
Do you encounter problems in accomplishing the different activities in your modules or learning activity sheets?
Worry no more because your teachers are always ready to guide and assist you. You can send your questions or clarifications in 2 easy ways. 1. Call or text, and 2. Private message. So easy, right? Remember, at Doña Aurora National High School, we make amazing things possible.
This reminder is brought to you by Doña Aurora National High School and this station.
It seems that you are on the last part of this activity. Let's continue with exercise number 5, titled Try and Write, on page 18. Your final task for this topic is to write your own 5 sentences in the active voice and 5 sentences in the passive voice. Be guided by the provided examples and rubrics for scoring. You may continue answering this activity after this broadcast. At this point, turn your learning activity sheet on page 19. For your reflection, after working on the different activities, complete the statement, "What I have learned from this activity is that..." In addition, answer honestly the questions written on a separate sheet of paper, which will be picked up by the teacher assigned in your barangay, or you may send it through online. It's already time to end our session this morning. I have such a nice time spent with you. Just call me up or send me a message if there is anything else that I can do for you. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye!
Thank you very much, Teacher Kathy, and also to our dear learners for spending another lovely morning with us. I would also like to acknowledge our scriptwriter, Teacher Annabel C. Acupido. This is your host, Teacher Mark D. Bagamaspad, leaving you a simple advice: never be passive, always be active. Goodbye! Keep safe, everyone!
Language,
Grammar,
And literature.
a program that will develop your vocabulary.
comprehension,
Critical and analytical skills.
This is the English Learning Area. English Learning Area. Only here on 106.3 D WDR-FM Dance Radio.
Dance Radio, where learning is amazing. Dance Radio, silip aralan sa radyo. Atid namin makabago, paraan ang pagtuturo.
Wala nang makakapigil pa. Sulong Arangkada 106.3 Dance Radio sa Aurora, Isabela.
Edukasyo'y susulong, basta na magtulong-tulong. Sulong edukalidad, Dance Radio. Learning is amazing.
Yes, isa munang commercial saglit ha sa mga estudyante daw po ng Doña Aurora National High School, sa lahat po ng mga nagbabalak at gusto sumali sa tinatawag natin election po sa SSG ha. Prepare daw po kayo ng inyong mga political party at i-contact po niyo ang inyong mga advisors para po malaman nila. Ngayon pong araw na ito, pwede na po kayong gumawa. Okay! Balik po tayo sa ating regular programming. Ma'am Jorlene.
Alright, you have just heard the second RBI lesson for quarter 1, shift 2. And before we start, let me read to you the flow of the discussion today, my dear learners. I will be the one to give you a review of the past lesson. Teacher Dennis will give the motivation for the new lesson. I will discuss the meaning and use of active and passive voice. Teacher Jane will discuss the ways on how can active be changed into passive voice, while Teacher Claudine will be the one to discuss the ways on how can passive voice be changed into active voice. Okay, so before we start, let's have some review of our past lesson. Can you still remember our past lesson, dear learners? Okay, so comment in our chat box if you can still remember it. Okay, comment in your chat box.
Let us see if who still remembers the lesson last week.
Okay, there is already an answer from Perelita Annabel C. Acopido. Types of analogy.
From Sarah Lee, analogies and types of analogy. Very good. Liza, analogy.
Wow, very good.
Okay, Duke.
Very good, very good.
All right.
All right.
This one, Jasmine, analogies.
Precious Agas, analogy.
Erika Merigon, analogies.
Correct.
Yancy, types of analogy.
Luke Yenko, analogy. Ashley
Okay.
Tuldok.
Wow, very good, learners.
Very good. They listened, Ma'am Jarly. They listened last
Okay,
week.
your answers are correct. On our past lesson, we talked about analogy, wherein analogy was defined as a particular kind of rhetorical device that allows people to demonstrate the relationship between various objects or concepts. We also discussed the 6 types of analogy. Okay. So, the 6 types of analogy: the object to purpose, general to specific, user to tool, sequences, synonyms, and antonyms. We also tackled about the 3 ways on how to write a good analogy, which are: try to create easy to understand imagery, work to compare and contrast, and think of ways to inspire. Okay, so to see if you really understood the lesson last meeting, let us answer this 3-item activity on analogies. Take it away, Ma'am Jane.
Okay. Number 1. This pertains to antonyms. Hot is to cold, as wet is to... Okay, key in your answers in the chat box.
You will have a chance to...
Hot is to cold, as wet is to blank.
Okay.
You have a chance to win 20 peso worth of load.
Ma'am Jane, there is already a correct answer here from
From Mark.
Perelita Annabel C. Acopido.
Nauna si Mark.
Nauna ba si Mark?
Yes, Mark. Nauna po si Mark.
Ah,
7
Mark.
Galileo.
Oh.
7
Nauna si
Galileo.
Mark Norwin.
Yes. Ang sagot, yes, Mark Norwin Edroso. Ang sagot
Yes,
ay...
Mark Norwin Edroso.
Right.
7
Okay.
Galileo.
Pakisulat na lang po ninyo
Yes.
ma'am ang pangalan
Okay.
niya.
Congratulations.
Pakisulat po pangalan, Mark Norwin
Edroso.
Ito, Mark Norwin ha, pakitext mo ang inyong advisor, advisor ba? English teacher mo, then sabihin mo ikaw yung nanalo anak ha? Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, next.
Number 2. Tool to user. Hammer is to carpenter, as paintbrush is to blank. Go, go, go!
Go! Okay.
Okay.
Again, another 20 peso load. Sarah Litan, Newton, sagot niya, painter.
Sarah Lee.
Wow! She got the correct answer.
Correct. The answer is painter.
Sarah
Very
Lee.
good, Sarah Lee.
Paki-text mo rin anak ang iyong sa English teacher mo, sabihin mo ikaw yung nanalo sa second one, ha?
Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready for number 3?
Yes.
Yes, number 3 is part to hold. Toe is to foot as petal is to blank. Okay, I repeat. Toe is to foot as petal is to blank. Do we have a winner, Ma'am Claudine?
Yes, we have
Okay, Felrita, Annabelle. Congratulations, Felrita.
Our answer is
Flower. Correct. The answer is flower.
Paki-message mo, Felerita, ang English teacher mo, sabihin mo sa kanya, ikaw yung nanalo sa pangatlo.
Okay, to all of you, congratulations.
Congratulations! You will have an additional point to your teachers or subject teachers. Okay, so before we shall go deeper with our lesson, let us have Sir Dennis for the motivation part. Okay.
Kaya pala ako di marinig.
Ah, hindi ka naririnig? Ako din yata kanina.
Kaya di ako marinig kasi wala sa akin yung aking lapel.
Ay,
Okay, so let us have
Ba
first
yan?
a game. Okay, let's wait for Sir Dennis. Hindi daw naririnig.
Pasensya na. Ulyanin. Sana all. Okay.
Nako, sign of ano yan? Sign of
Aging.
aging.
Sign ng kagapuhan. Thank
Oo
you, Sir
na.
Jocelyn. Sir Jocelyn nakapansin. Okay, before we shall go deeper with our lesson, let us have first a game titled
5 na, ma'am.
Okay, guess what? Babat-batin ba yung sila? Guess what? Yan. Okay, ito bibigay ako ng mga clue, anak, ha? Okay, I will be giving clues regarding the word that you are going to guess. Then after that, you will give your answer via chat box. Type your name, section, and the correct answer. Let's have the first one. Yan, ang magbibigay ako ng unang clue. This is the first clue. The first clue is, it is a 5-letter word. 5-letter word. 5-letter word, yan. Alam niyo na? Oh, may sumagot na. May sumagot na ba?
Sagot na ba?
Baka
Wala
mag-
pa.
Wala pa.
Excited.
Magkano pa panalo niya? Meron kayo tatanggaping
20
30 na. 30 pesos worth of loads.
Ah,
Oh,
Okay.
galing kay Sir
Galing
Dennis.
kay
Sagot ko
Sir
na yan. Oh,
Dennis.
sagot ko na yan. Oh,
Yay.
sige, sagot na
Okay,
yan.
thank you, Sir Dennis.
Pag wala pa rin nakahula, dadagdagan ko pa.
Okay.
Ay, hindi. Pag wala nakahula, babawasan ko.
Next clue.
Dali, baka meron na. Okay,
Ah.
next clue. Wala pa rin.
May sumagot na, sir.
Meron na, kaya lang eh.
Pero, medyo ano pa, wala pa.
Okay, sama. Siyempre, it ends with letter E. Yan ako, marami na sa mga sagot.
Yes, with
Marami
letter
na sa mga
E.
sagot. Ha? Seymour. Kasi Seymour ang
Seymour.
nakalagay.
Okay,
Seymour.
number 3 clue, Sir Dennis.
Okay, number 3, ang clue niya ay you cannot live without it but others
Oh!
can.
We
Wala,
have a
ano
winner.
kaya ito?
Malapit na, malapit
Meron na,
na.
meron na, sir.
Meron na ba? Meron na ba?
Anthony.
Wala pa rin, wala pa rin. Meron na?
Bartolome.
Anthony Bartolome. Let us see if his guess is correct.
Tingnan natin, sabi niya.
His
Okay.
answer is voice.
Wow,
Is he
boys.
correct, sir?
Saan na?
Okay.
Okay,
Let's
pakita
read
niya.
first the last clue.
Yes.
Every time you use it, sounds are produced.
Produce! Yan,
Sir
sige natin kung
Dennis.
nasagot.
Okay.
Tararat, tararat!
Correct.
Anong pangalan? Pangalan niya?
Anthony Bartolome.
Anthony Bartolome, pakitext mo
Of
ang
7 Newton.
Pakitext mo yung advisor mo, English teacher. At sa kanya ko ibibigay yung load para maipadala sa iyo, ha?
Okay.
Nasa box yun, nasa box.
Congratulations!
Yes.
Meron kang tumataginting na 30 peso
Pesos!
load.
Sige
From
na.
Sir Dennis.
And
Yes.
an additional point to your teacher.
Yay! Yan.
Okay, congratulations to the winner and to those who got the correct
Answer!
Okay. So the question is, what does your voice sound like? Does it sound like of Sarah Geronimo, na strong and powerful ang boses? Or Lea Salonga, na pang Disney princess? Or maybe, just like Moira's voice, na very calming ang effect? Do you know that we also have voices of verbs in English? Pero hindi po literal na boses ang verbs. So, these are what we are going to discuss today. The question is, what does the voice of verbs mean? Okay, let's define it. So, the voice of verbs refers to the relationship between the subject of the sentence and the verb. Okay, the relationship between the subject of the sentence and the verb. So first, let us define the meaning of subject and verb. Ano nga ba ang tinatawag nating subject and verb? Subject is the person being discussed or talked about, while verb is a word that shows an action or an action word or a state of being. Okay. So this time, I will discuss the two voices of verbs, which are active voice and passive voice. Okay, let's begin with active voice. Active voice is when the subject is doing the action on the receiver. Okay, take note. When the action or when the subject is doing the action on the receiver, it is active voice. Okay, we have here an example. Queen ate the papayas. Okay, so our subject here or the doer of the action is queen. And our verb is ate. And our receiver or what we call the object is the papayas. Okay, did you get it? So we have a formula here. Okay, meron tayong formula na dapat i-follow in active voice. Subject or the doer plus verb plus object or the receiver. Okay, or the acronym SVO. Okay, tandaan nyo nga, SVO. S stands for subject or the doer plus V, which is the verb, plus the O, which is the object or the receiver. Okay.
So, Ma'am Jarlene, mahalaga pala na ang bata, alam nila at meron silang karunungan o kaalaman sa sinatawag nating yung subject-verb agreement.
Oh, yes naman, sir.
Correct. Kasali yan, sir, sa pattern natin.
Yeah.
Okay. So, active voice is the voice which we are most familiar. The subject performs the action of the sentence. Okay, let's have another example. So, we have here Julian Felipe composed the national anthem. Okay, so our subject or the doer of the action here is Julian Felipe. Okay, our verb is composed and our object or the receiver of the action is the national anthem.
Okay, so if we ask the question, Ma'am Darlene, who composed the national anthem, the answer would be the doer of the action.
Yes.
So, what is being composed? If you're going to ask the question, what is being composed?
Yes, what is being composed?
The receiver is the answer.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Ano ang kinompose ni Julian Felipe? And that is the receiver, the national
anthem.
Okay. Next example, the frontliners secure the health of the people. Okay. So, the subject here or the doer of the action is the frontliners. Our verb is secure and our object or the receiver of the action is the help. Okay?
Yes.
So, ano ang sinesecure ng ating frontliners? Okay? Ang health of the people. And that is our object. Okay, naintindihan? So, let us proceed with passive voice. Okay? So, the verb has a passive voice when the action is happening to the subject. It tells us what is done to something or to something In other words, the subject is being acted upon or would normally be the object of the verb. Okay? So, in active voice, the doer of the action is the focus of the sentence. Hence, it is in the subject part. Okay? Kung napansin nyo kanina. In the passive voice, the receiver of the action is the focus of the sentence. Hence, it is in the subject part. Okay. So we have here an example. The papayas were eaten by Queen. Okay. So, we need to follow this formula. Okay. Kung ang active voice ay may formula, ganun din ang passive voice. Okay. So, the formula is subject or the receiver plus verb, which is the be verb plus past participle plus by plus object or the doer. So kung mapapansin nyo, yung subject natin naging receiver of the action na. Okay? So kanina ang subject natin sa active voice is the doer. Okay. So the papayas were eaten by Queen. Our subject here is the papayas, which is the receiver. Next, our verb is were eaten. Okay, the be verb here is were. And the past participle of the main verb is eaten. Okay, then lagyan natin siya ng by. Okay, plus the doer of the action or the object, which is Queen. Okay, so did you get it? Next, may nabanggit tayong be verb, right? So, be verbs are also known as linking verbs and helping verbs. Okay. So, these are the most common used, okay, subject pronoun. We have the I, we, you, they, he, she, and it. Okay, and these are the be verbs. If it is in present tense, we are going to use am, are, or is. If that is in past tense, we are going to use was, were, or was. Okay? And if that is in future tense, we are going to use will be. If that is in present perfect, we are going to use have been and has been. And if that is in past perfect, we are going to use had been. Okay. But take note that in using or constructing sentences, the verb must agree with the number of the subject. So when we say number, it refers to singular or plural. Okay. So let's have another example here. The Philippine national anthem was composed by Julian Felipe. Okay. So our subject here or the receiver is the Philippine national anthem. Okay. Our verb is was composed. The be verb used is was, and the past participle of the main verb is composed. And our object or the doer is Julian Felipe. So it follows the formula in getting the passive voice. Okay. Ayun yung by natin. Hindi na mawawala yung by, ha? Okay. The health of the people is secured by the frontliners. Okay. So the subject here is health. Okay. Or the receiver. And our verb is secured. Okay. The be verb is, and the past participle of the main verb is secured. And we are going to add by. Then, the object or the doer of the action is the frontliners. Okay. So, this time, to give us more knowledge about active and passive voice, let us have teacher Jane Arlene Tapawan as she discusses the ways in changing active voice to passive voice. Okay, take it away, Ma'am Jane.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Jarlene. Kindly flash the last screen, ma'am. Okay, I just want to add that in putting or in making your sentence from active to passive, the be verb is always accompanied by the past participle of the verb.
Yes.
Say for example, was composed, is secured. Okay? And of course, we use is if, in the passive voice, we use is if the verb in the active voice is in the present tense. We use was if the main verb in the active is in the past tense. Okay? So it must be clear. Now, this time, let us have changing active to passive voice. Okay? There are 3 easy steps to follow in order for us to change active to passive. Okay, I would like to reiterate that when we pertain to active voice, in the active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. The focus is on the doer of the action. If we say passive voice, the subject's focus is on the receiver of the action. Okay, let's take the first step. Number 1, to change a sentence from active to passive voice, let us do the following. Number 1, move the active sentence's direct object into the sentence's subject slot. Okay, so i-move daw natin yung direct object doon sa subject slot. Let us see this one. Okay, in the active voice, we have Marilyn mailed the letter. The direct object there is the letter. The subject, of course, let's start with the subject. The subject is Marilyn. What is the action? Mailed. What did Marilyn mail? Did Marilyn mail? The letter. The letter is the direct object. The first step says we are going to transfer the direct object in the subject slot. Alright, so in the passive voice, mauuna na ngayon ang the letter. Okay? Next step. Place the active sentence's subject into a phrase beginning with the preposition by. Okay? So it is very clear. In the active sentence's subject, i-transfer natin, i-place natin yon into the object part with the phrase beginning with by. Let us see this one. Marilyn, of course, still the subject, mailed the letter. I-transfer natin ngayon si Marilyn with the preposition by. The letter blank by Marilyn. If we notice, the sentence is not yet complete. Correct? Pero nagawa na natin yung first 2 steps. Wherein, we transferred the object into the subject part. So, the letter, then blank, transfer the subject part into the object part. Okay, we did it. For number 3, add a form of the auxiliary verb be to the main verb and change the main verb's form. Okay, this is now your sentence. In the active voice, Marilyn mailed the letter. Where's the verb? What's the action? It's mailed. Okay. Is it in the present or past? Ma'am Claudine. Okay, past. Now, what is our rule? If the main verb in the active voice is in the past, you use was. Yes. And of course, do not forget that the verb agrees with the subject. The subject is singular. Marilyn is only one. Okay, let us have the sentence in the passive voice now. The letter was mailed by Marilyn. Okay, was, because the main verb in the active voice is in the past tense and Marilyn is only one. We use was. Can we use where, ma'am? No, because Marilyn is only one, and of course, the letter is also only one. Okay, what if we do like this? Marilyn mails the letter. Okay, in the active voice, the verb now is in the present tense. Yes?
Yes.
Marilyn mails the letter. So, how are we going to do it in the passive voice? The letter is mailed by Marilyn. Okay? The be verb should be is. Why? Because the verb in the active voice is in the present tense. Okay? Here we have other examples. Alright, in the active voice, the beast kissed Beauty. Okay? How are we going to do it? Who is the doer of the action?
The beast.
The beast. What's the action?
Kiss.
Kiss. Who kissed Beauty?
The beast.
The beast. It's the subject. Okay. To whom the action is taken? Is done, I'm sorry. Is done? To Beauty. So that is the object. Did we follow the SVO?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay. How about the passive? Beauty, transfer natin ngayon si Beauty sa subject part. Beauty was kissed by the beast. Okay? Was kissed because the verb is in the past tense. What about if the sentence is like this? The beast kisses Beauty. Okay, let us see if you can answer this one. The beast kisses Beauty. Dear learners, key in your answer in the chat box. The beast kisses Beauty. Let us see.
Okay. Key
Go,
in your
go, go.
answers.
Key in your answers in the chat box.
You will have a chance to win a 10 peso load.
Let us see.
Okay. So, ano kaya ang tamang sagot dyan, Ma'am Jane?
Okay. So, if the verb is in the present tense, it would be the beast, Beauty Beauty is kissed
Oh,
by
we have an
the
answer
beast.
here.
Ah, meron na, ma'am?
Beauty is kissed by the beast.
Very good,
Ferrita.
Ferrita, Annabelle. Very good, congratulations. You will get 20 peso load from me plus additional points.
Wow.
Okay.
Yay.
Next.
Okay.
See, they are listening, ma'am. Active. Learners answered the validating questions and summative tests. The subject, of course, is learners. The action is answered. What did they answer? Validating questions and summative tests. Therefore, that is the direct object. Now, let us see. In a passive voice, validating questions and summative tests were answered by the learners. Okay. What if the sentence is like this? The learner, singular, the learner answers the validating questions and summative tests. The learner answers the validating questions and summative tests. Let us see. Kindly key in your answer.
Okay, key in your answer.
The learner answers the validating questions and summative tests.
So this time, iisa na lang yung ating subject.
Okay. May sagot dito. Liza Rifon, kindly read, ma'am.
Okay, her answer is validating questions and summative tests is answered by the learners.
Bakit may S?
Okay. So tama na sana 'yon. Meron isang medyo na mali si Liza.
Ito kaya,
okay,
ma'am.
Sarah Lee.
Kay Sarah Lee Tan, validating questions and summative test is answered. Bakit by the learner? Pero yung by niya, ma'am,
ano lang yan, ma'am. Nag-automatic siya.
Opo, nag-automatic
by the
siguro.
learner. Okay. Meron pa din. Meron
Kay
tayong
Felrita.
summative test. Okay, Felrita ulit.
Yes, ma'am. Her answer is the validating questions and summative tests are answered by the learners.
Correct. Okay. Very good. Talagang nakikinig silang lahat, ma'am. Medyo
Ma'am Jane, may S. Di ba yung ating subject is learner?
Oo, pero kapag ginawa mo siyang passive, ma'am.
May S kasi yung kanya, ma'am.
Asan?
Si Perlita, learners.
Learners.
Ay, oo nga.
Opo. Ito kaya,
Learner.
Ma'am Jane. Ito
Okay,
kaya.
oo
Para
nga.
meron na validating questions and summative test.
Was?
Ay, was.
Was.
Oo.
Was. Remember, the verb is in the present
Present
tense.
tense, guys.
The learner answers the
Ayun.
validating questions.
Okay.
Okay, Sarah Lee, let us see. Validating questions and summative tests. Tests yon.
Ito, ma'am, kay Bettina Rivera. The
Or,
validating
naman.
question and summative test are answered by the learner.
Okay. Tama yun.
Tama yun.
Okay. So, the right answer comes from Bettina Rivera of... Anong section niya, ma'am?
Anong section nito?
Okay. Kindly tell your
8
advisor that you...
SPA.
Okay. So, 8 SPA.
Ano ba tagal
Alright.
yung 8
So, nakikinig sila, ma'am. Medyo nalilito lang konti. Pero as we dig deeper into the lesson, I know they can follow.
Yan.
Okay? So, that is the changing
Okay.
active to passive.
Ma'am, sino po yung nanalo? Si?
Bettina.
Bettina, paki-message mo ulit yung English teacher. Sabihin mo ikaw yung nanalo sa promo.
Promo.
Sa contest, sa tama? Sa exercises na yan. Yan, ha?
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Jane, for that informative sharing.
Promo.
I hope that you've learned a lot from Teacher Jane. So this
Yes.
time, let us listen to Teacher Claudine Rambak as she discusses the ways in changing passive voice to active voice.
Ayan,
So,
okay.
thank you so much, Ma'am Jane and Ma'am Charlene. So, I will discuss with you how to change a passive voice sentence into an active voice sentence. We will just reverse the steps discussed by Ma'am Jane. Okay, so the first step is move the passive sentences subject into the active sentences direct object slot or in the last part of our sentence. Like for the example shown to you, the sentence, the letter was mailed by Marilyn. Okay, so the sentence is in the passive voice. So we will try to change the sentence to active voice. First, let's identify the subject in our passive sentence. Okay, so the subject is the letter. Okay, so we move it in the last part of our active sentence. Okay, so na-move na yung subject natin na letter doon sa pinaka last part ng ating sentence.
Under the direct object part.
Okay, direct object part. Okay, so next step is remove the auxiliary verb be from the main verb and change main verb's form if needed. So our verb is was mailed. Okay, we have to remove the be verb was. So we have mailed the letter. Okay, so yung natira na lang kapag tinanggal natin yung was, ang matitira na lang ay yung mailed. Okay, so the last step is place the passive sentences object of the preposition by into the subject slot of our active sentence. So the passive sentences object is by Marilyn. We remove the word by and place the word Marilyn in the subject slot of our active sentence. So we now have an active sentence, Marilyn. Okay, si Marilyn na yung nasa ating unahan ng ating sentence. Marilyn mailed the letter. Okay, that is how we convert passive sentence into an active sentence. So another example, we have the books are arranged by Dennis. So in the passive sentence, we have the subject, the books, and our verb is are arranged by, and then our object is Dennis. So in order to change it into active sentence, we have to identify the subject. Okay, so the books, we move it in the last part of our active sentence. Nakikita nyo naman yung na-underline na word. Okay, so na-move na siya sa pinaka-last part ng ating active sentence. And then next, our verb is are arrange. Okay, are is our helping verb and in the present tense. So arrange is the past participle. So we remove the be verb are and the verb arrange becomes arranges. Bakit siya naging arranges? Dahil yung ating verb sa passive is nasa present tense. So ano yung, ma'am?
Sige.
So ano yung present tense ng arrange? Arranges. Bakit siya naging arranges? Because Dennis is singular subject. Okay, so Dennis arranges the books. Okay, next. Dennis, which is the doer of the action, now becomes the subject. Arranges is the action that agrees with the singular subject, and the books becomes the object. Okay, so next example. Reading is enjoyed by Mary. Okay, this example is also in the passive voice. To change it into active sentence, we have to determine the subject of the sentence. Okay, so the subject is reading. We move it in the last part of our active sentence. Next, our verb is enjoyed. Okay, which is also in the present tense.
Verb phrase is enjoyed.
Okay, verb phrase is enjoyed. Okay, so we remove the be verb is. And the verb enjoyed now becomes enjoys. Because our sentence is in the present tense. And last, we place the object Mary into the subject slot of our active sentence. Tanggalin natin yung by. So we now have an active sentence, Mary enjoys reading. Okay, so Mary is now the doer of the action and the subject of our sentence. Enjoys is the action and reading becomes the object. Okay, so that is the steps on how to transform passive voice into active voice.
Okay, thank you so much, Teacher Claudine. This time, let us check if you truly understood the voice of verbs through a 3-item activity. Yes, Sir Dennis?
Okay, now I'll be reading. Parang layo-layo.
Okay, so this time, let us have a 3-item activity. Okay.
Now here is the direction. Read and analyze the given sentences. Type or text active if the form of the sentence is in active voice, and passive if sentence is in passive voice. Okay? Now let's have number 1.
Okay, number 1.
Sa mga nakikinig po sa bahay sa kailang radio, ganito po ang tanong. Number 1, reporters write news reports. Reporters write news reports.
May answer na tayo from Liza Orifon. Nanalo na siya kanina. Si Liza.
Okay, Liza
Orifon. The answer is active. Is she
Yes.
correct, Sir Dennis?
Natin? Yes, active.
Yes.
Yan.
Liza Orifon of 7 Archimedes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am Jane, bakit po active ang tamang sagot?
Okay, we explained a while ago that when we talk about active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. Yes? Here in the sentence, reporters write news reports. The subject is reporters. Yes? The action is write. What do reporters write? News reports. Who did the action? Okay. Or who do the action? The reporters. Therefore, it is in the active voice.
Very good. Thank you, Ma'am Jane. Yan, ha? Sa lahat po ng makasagot. Sino po siya, ma'am? Sino po yung nakasagot kanina?
Liza.
Liza. Yan. Please, text mo yung English teacher mo, English teacher mo, sabihin mo sa kanya, ikaw yung nalo sa activity na ito.
Okay, don't forget to write the number first before the answer.
Yes, number first before the answer.
Liza and those who got the answer.
Yes, okay.
Maraming nakakuha, sir
Opo.
Okay.
Ay, ma'am, gawin natin isa lang ha, kung sino
Yes,
lang
isa lang. Yun na una.
para lahat naman mapagbigyan.
Yes.
Okay po. Okay, now next we have the number 2. The modules have been delivered by the teachers. Again,
Sagot na agad tayo,
the modules
sir.
have been delivered by the teachers.
Sikit.
Answer?
Sikit, Ma'am Wad.
Wow, si
Y.
Kit. Okay,
Number 2.
Kit. Ang sagot niya ay?
8S.
Grade
8S, PJ pala to.
Ha?
Grade 8.
Oh, grade 8 siya. Oh,
Okay.
naku naman. Talaga naman ha.
Si Sarah Lee. Anyway, Kate, congratulations anak. Still, you remember our
Okay.
lesson.
Yes.
Sarah Lee, nanalo na yata si Sarah Lee.
Sarah Lee, ma'am.
Sarah Lee
Yes,
Tan.
ma'am.
Opo.
Nanalo na rin si Felrita.
Dahil estudyante ko si Kate, may 20 peso load na lang siya.
Yes! Okay,
Ayan na.
Pia Mona Bumanglag.
Ang sagot niya, ma'am?
Passive.
Okay, tingnan natin kung tama sagot niya. Yay!
Uy, sumagot din si RJ, pero nahuli siya.
Ay, congratulations,
Passive.
RJ.
Okay,
Anong pangalan?
marami silang sumagot ng passive. Congratulations.
Yes,
Pia
passive.
Mona Bumanglag.
Okay.
Siya kasi yung nauna, sir.
The modules have been delivered by the teachers.
Sige.
Yes, the answer is
Yes.
passive. Ma'am Jerlyn, bakit naman tinawag na passive ang number 2?
Okay, it is obviously in passive voice because it follows the formula S, V plus by plus O. Okay, which is our subject here becomes the receiver of the action, right? So
Yes.
our subject is the modules and our verb is have been delivered. Okay, so we are going to add by and the object here is the teacher. Okay.
Okay, very good. Now let's have number 3.
Okay.
Okay, ito naman ang number 3, ha? Makinig mga bata. Ayan. Number 3. John will pass his outputs by Monday. John will pass his outputs by Monday. Any answer? Yes.
We have an answer from Liza Orifon, pero nanalo
winner
na
na
kasi
siya.
siya.
Ay, nanalo na siya.
Nanalo na rin si Pia Mona. RJ, active.
Ang active naman nila.
Oh,
Okay,
RJ
sobra
Tapawan.
Pero
Ang nauna.
active.
Active.
Okay, so ang sagot ni RJ ay active.
Yay! Meron na
Bakit siya
tayo.
naging active, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, kasi merong sumagot. Halimbawa, si Christine, ma'am, sumagot po siya. Sabi niya, passive. Sabi naman ni Andres Crystalian, passive. Yan. Ang tanong,
Bakit
si Princess
passive?
Stephanie siguro to, Pagandor siguro to is passive. Okay. Bakit po passive siya?
Sir Dennis, bakit passive ang sagot nila kaya?
Oo nga,
Yes.
ang tamang sagot ay
Active.
Baka number 2 yun kanina.
O
Nahuli
baka
na
number
sila.
2 naman siya.
O nalilito.
Okay.
Yes.
Bakit ang answer dito ay active, sir? May by siya.
Oo nga naman. Ma'am Jarlene, ano bang alam mo? Baka alam mo, baka kaya mo paliwanag yan.
Sir Dennis, it is obviously in active voice because it follows again the SVO pattern.
Yes.
Which
Oh.
is our subject here is the object. Okay. Which is John. And our verb is will pass.
Subject.
And okay,
Doer.
subject or the,
Subject or the doer.
doer of the action. Okay, and
Oo.
our verb is will pass, and our object or the receiver of the action is outputs. Ano ang ipapasa ni
Okay.
Eh, bakit meron yung by Monday?
Ayan.
Ma'am Jane.
Kaya sila nalito, sir. Kasi
Yes.
by Monday, may by kasi doon. Now, this one is a prepositional phrase, sir, that functions as an adverb.
Mhm.
Diba? Adverb of time.
Yes.
By Monday. Kailan siya magpapasa? By Monday.
Ano ipapasa niya?
Yung
Output.
outputs.
Oh.
Okay? So, don't be confused na dahil may by doon is active na siya, ay passive na siya. No.
Yes.
You still consider the pattern and of course, the doer of the action.
Tignan na
Yes.
mabuti, basahin na mabuti.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
Ulitin ko, yung by Monday doon is a prepositional phrase that acts as an adverb of time.
Okay, thank you so much. Ayan, ang dami na nating winners at ang daming active na mga estudyante.
Eh, huwag silang malilito dun ha. Dapat maintindihan lang mabuti yun.
Yes sir. Oo.
Okay, so this time, Sir Dennis, Teacher Jane, and Teacher Claudine,
Yes.
do you know that we can also use passive and active voice in the different learning areas?
Of course, ma'am. Not only in
Oh.
English.
Okay, so pwede natin gamitin ito sa math. Pwede
ganun
rin
ba?
sa science at sa iba't ibang learning area.
Yes.
But this time, we're going to use it in solving a math problem.
Matalino kaya yata doon, Sir Dennis?
Oo, mathematician yan eh. Okay.
Wala na, nawalan ka na ng signal, Sir Dennis.
Okay, so sa mga nasa bahay at nakikinig ng radyo, you can call me at 0975-239-4360. Mamaya, makinig na mabuti. You will be given the chance to explain, okay, the short method in getting the correct answer later. Okay, kinig-kinig na lang dyan. Okay, we have a given here, Ma'am Jane, okay?
Okay.
The sentence is...
Maria has donated 2/5, tama ba, no? 2/5 of her monthly allowance to the Aurora frontliners.
Wow, ang laki naman ang binibigay ni Maria.
Ito po ay nasa, ano pong voice siya, ma'am? Siya po ay nasa?
Active.
Okay, nasa active siya.
Nasa active voice siya.
Yes.
Yes, paano naman kaya pag gawin nating
passive?
Passive itong given natin na ito.
Ito magic dyan. Yan, ito magic. Makikita nila.
Ting!
Oh,
ayan.
Magic dyan. Di ba?
Okay.
So magiging
2/5 of her monthly allowance has been donated by Maria to Dennis. Ano mo yan?
To Dennis talaga.
No.
To the Aurora frontliners.
Ikaw pa ba naman ang dodonated, Sir Dennis?
Kaya nga. Okay, ngayon, dahil may mathematician tayo dito, okay, ito yung ating problem, Sir Dennis. If Maria's monthly allowance is 5,000 pesos, how much has she donated to the Aurora frontliners? May tinatawag tayong long method and short
method. Yan. Pasensya na kayo, tulog ako.
Mamaya yung lucky caller natin, siya yung mag-explain ng short method.
Sino ba yung lucky caller natin kung sakasakali? Tatanggap siya tatanggap siya ng award? Ano?
Yes, a 20 peso load.
20 pesos load? Sige, gawin na natin 30 pesos load yan!
Okay.
Yan, para ano. Sige. Ito po ang problem sa mga anak, ha? If Maria's monthly allowance, ano ba nangyari dyan? If Maria's monthly allowance is 5,000 pesos, how much has she donated to the Aurora frontliners? Okay.
Okay, Sir Dennis, show us the long method.
Meron ba dito?
Wala. Babasahin mo siya, Sir Dennis.
Tinan mo, may sumagot kasi, di ba? May sumagot na eh.
Meron ba?
Yan, si Anthony ay si Nathaniel Andres.
Nathaniel Andres.
Oo, ang sagot
pero
niya ay...
anak, show us the solution.
Oo, pakita mo sa amin, anak. Sige, pakita mo natin, pakita nila yung solution.
Okay. So,
bago natin pakita.
Bigyan muna natin sila ng clue,
Okay,
yung long method muna.
Sige, long method, ha? Long method. Solution. Siyempre, yung long method, ganito yun.
Siyempre,
yung
Sir Dennis,
2, yan, ito ang long method, ha? 2, kasi 250 di ba? So, lalabas siya na 2 times 5,000.
Okay.
And equals to, yun na yung sagot niya doon.
Equals
10,000. Sabi, 2,500.
Okay.
10,000 yun. Yan.
Ayan.
Pero pag binigay mo sa nanay ko yan, magiging 8,000 na lang yan. 2 times 5,000, 8,000 sabi ng nanay ko. Nasa kanya na yung 2,000. Okay! 5, at tapos ito pa isa. Tapos 5 times 1 equals 5, siyempre. Sa nanay ko, 3 na naman yan. Okay, in 10,000 over, parang ganun yun eh. 10,000 divided by the 5 equals yun ang sagot. Yun ang sagot niya.
Sir Dennis, meron tumatawag, okay?
Tumatawag. Baka yung nakautangan ko yan, ma'am. Sige, sagutin mo.
Tignan natin. Sagutin mo, Sir Dennis.
Wait lang. Iyan. Andito yung sagot ni Yancy Budwan, no? Naka-specify ang solution niya. 5,000 times 2 over 5 is 5,000. Tama ba ang sagot, ma'am?
Yes.
5,000?
Ay, wrong.
Okay. So, sorry, anak.
May clue na si Sir kanina. 10,000 divided by 5 equals, sabi niya.
Oo.
Pero paano ko marinig yan? Di siya
I-speaker natin.
Sige, para siya speaker siya.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello? Ang number niya po ay
0975 794 blah blah. Sige na, para hindi la Ha? Hello. Hello, anak? Ayan, narinig mo kami?
Yes, anong pangalan?
Anong pangalan, anak?
Felrita Annabel siya ako dito.
Jesus ko! Tumitira ang Felrita Annabel.
Okay. Sige, anak. Ano yung sagot mo, anak? Sige nga.
Another solution is the short method which gives the cancellation method for division. So, cancel 5 in 5,000 and 5 in 2/5 because 5,000 is divisible by 5.
Oh.
5,000 divided by 5 is 1,000. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Then, multiply the remaining 2 by 1,000 to get 2,000.
Yes!
Wow!
Ang liwanag ng explanation niya, Sir
Yes.
Marcos, ha?
Anak, ikaw na nga pumunta rito.
Okay. So,
Thank
very
you so
good.
much.
Meron
Yan.
din tayo dito, ma'am, sa mga nag-chat sa kwan natin. Gio Lintao, he got also the right answer. And then, Sarah Litan got also the right answer.
Bettina Rivera. Ay, Rivera.
Ayan, ang gagaling naman
Ang gagaling nila.
Oo, ano
Yanzi Buduan.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh.
She also got the right answer.
Mhm.
Pati si Jai Kamay Pasilyaw.
Yes.
Oh, di ba?
Sino yung tumawag, ma'am, ulit? Ang pangalan niya ay si?
Felrita. Si Felrita Annabel, si Acopido.
Okay,
Ay,
maraming
talagang
salamat sa
nagmamana sa
pagkatawag.
ina.
Yes.
Mag minor, Ma'am Annabel.
Yan. Salamat, anak, ha. Thank you.
Thank
Ayan.
you.
Okay,
May
so...
30 peso load ka kay Sir
Yes.
Dennis.
Yes, sir. Sakit. Kala ko 10 pesos lang dadagdag ko. sige na.
Okay. So, all the winners,
Congratulations!
and you send your numbers to Ma'am
Yeah.
Charlene.
Okay,
Yung number
ito
na
na.
loloadan.
Okay, so, well, may I know if you listened well, okay? So, the question is, what did we discuss today? You may key in your answers on the chat box. Okay, anong natutunan nyo ngayong araw na ito? 3 minutes. Ayan.
Let us see if they listened well.
Key in your answers. Okay, Liza Oripon, passive
And
and
active.
O, tanggalin yung S na po, ha?
Oh,
Passive and
okay.
active only.
Hashtag active.
Nag-auto-correct siya.
Active and passive
Mamuan.
boys kami kita mamuad.
Okay, so
Good.
based from your answers, I think you learned a lot from our lesson. May we summarize everything today. We learned the voice of verbs, namely active and passive voice. Furthermore, we were taught on how to transform active to passive voice and vice versa. So, let us proceed with the evaluation part, Teacher Jane.
Okay. You are going to read the sentences below. If the sentence is in the active voice, change it to passive voice. Okay? Don't forget to type your name and section before the correct answer. Number 1. Harry wears face mask. Harry wears face mask. Okay. What is the correct answer? Is it letter A, face mask is worn by Harry? Or letter B, face mask were worn by Harry?
Okay, key in your answer.
So we have an answer from Justin Andres. His answer is letter A. Tama ba siya, Ma'am Jane?
Yes!
Yay!
Correct!
Wow, congratulations.
Alright, so letter A is the answer. Why? The verb or the subject in the active sentence is Harry, singular. So wears is in the present tense.
Yes.
Okay, and face mask is the object. What are we going to do first? Transfer face mask into the subject slot. Face mask is worn. Why is? Because the verb is in the present tense. Okay, and always accompanied by past participle. Is worn by Harry.
Harry.
Okay,
number 2.
Correct.
Okay, number 2. Yes, Teacher Claudine.
So number 2, we will pass our outputs. That is in the active voice. So how will we change it into passive? Letter
Okay.
A, outputs will be passed by us. Or letter B, outputs were going to be passed by us. Okay, so key in your answers.
Key in your answers. Number 2. Ayan, meron na mga sagot dito, Ma'am.
May sumagot na po, ha? Sabi niya rito, ha? Kanyang sagot ay.
Si Justin Andres, 2B, sabi niya. Nanalo na siya kanina.
Justin Andres, nanalo na ba siya?
Yes.
Okay,
Ang tanong, tama ba yung napili niyang sagot?
Si
Okay, let's
Kate
see
Mamuad,
later.
2B yan. 2B, sabi niya, Kate Mamuad Magaway, Gio Lintao.
Nanalo na ba si Kate
2B.
Mamuad?
Yes, yata.
Grade 8 siya, ma'am.
Grade 8.
Grade 8.
Oh, nanalo na siya sa akin. May load siya.
Gio
Okay.
Lintao. 2B.
Si
Sagot niya.
Felrita, Liza, nanalo na din sila.
Si Jasmine Martinez, nanalo na ba siya?
Hindi pa, ma'am.
Her answer is letter B. Is she
Ito,
correct?
Just-
No.
No!
Meron pang nauna sa kanya. Pia Mona, nanalo na din. Jaika May, nanalo na rin ba?
Ito si Ashley Kit Ramos.
Si Ashley, siya ang nauna, ma'am. Seven
Okay,
Galileo.
sige.
Her
Okay.
answer is letter A. Bakit siya letter A?
Okay, bakit siya letter A, Ma'am Jane?
Correct. Letter A. Okay. We always look into the active voice for us to get the sentence in the passive voice. We will pass our outputs. The verb there is will pass.
Okay. Let's proceed with the last one. Okay, so congratulations to those who got the correct answer. It seems that you are listening very well. So our topic for today highlights the voice of verbs, mainly active and passive voice. So I would like to finish off with a famous quote by William Faulkner. Never be afraid to raise your voice for honesty, truth, and compassion against injustice. Okay, so before ending this session, may we have again your teachers in English. Teacher Jane, Teacher Claudine, Teacher Dennis. Again, thank you so much, grade 7 learners.
Happy
Thank you also to our
Wednesday.
technical specialist, Sir Joshua.
Facts and information. Today's learning for you normal with capable teachers whose heart and soul are defined. Delivered knowledge inside your home through 106.3 Dance Radio. Fully dedicated to serve the public in tribute to education. We produce of radio-based instruction. We are pleased to deliver the utmost aim of education. Only here on 106.3 TWDR-FM. Ito ang 106.3 Dance Radio. Dance Radio.
Prepare yourself.
Ang silid-aralan sa radyo, hatid namin ay makabagong paraan ng pagtuturo at kalaman. Mapaumaga, tanghali o hapon man yan. Ang istasyong magbibigay impormasyon kahit saan man.
Alright, here we go.
106.3 Dance Radio. Doña Aurora National High School, Santa Rita, Aurora, Isabela.
This
106.3 DWDR-FM.